What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God!
Would you gentlemen care to order your dinners?
Bet, babe. Slide a piece of the porter. Drink side, run the job.
Look at here. I can dig grease and trumpet on some butter and drag him through the garden.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wednesday with me, Legal Vices. How are you? Hope you're all doing great, because I am doing great myself. Hey, when I got a little dent in the hat there. Let's get that out there. There we go. There we go. The hat has been restored. Hey, folks. We're back to YNW Melly today. We've got Mel's. Just Cause says, love the hat. This lovely hat here. This is Flux's hat. This is actually Our Lady Flux's hat. I'm just keeping it until she wants it back. So yeah, that's Flux's hat. She gets all the credit for it. Except for I've had it sitting. There we go. I gotta pop that out. Oh well. I have to fix that so it doesn't say. All right, that annoys me. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about YNW Melly today. Yesterday we went straight into one of the hearings. A very, very poor volume hearing because hey, that's what law and crime does. They give us crappy court audio unless somebody else helps, I guess. But what's going on is we're going to be talking about what happened Monday. They're making it more difficult because they had a really crappy audio set up on Monday. It was so bad that they ripped their own feed and they reduced their whole thing down to about 50, but I guess it's about 32 minutes, and about 20 minutes of that was actually hearable. And I just went to load that so we could do our best with it. And they've completely removed it from their website. So we can't even listen to a crappy 30 minutes of what happened on Monday. So we're just going to have to read some news articles and try to figure out what happened. I know that Prosecutor Boutros was on the stand and Moretti was on the stand, and they were talking about that search warrant for the cell phone of YNW Melly's mother. That was pretty much the entire Monday. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at a little bit of that. We're going to look at some additional discovery items that we tried to look at during every break yesterday, but the court was very, very short with their breaks. So we're going to be looking at those additional items of evidence and a couple of motions and a couple of orders. Maybe we'll see how much we can get through tonight. There's a lot of stuff. Daily Quick Buy says, dude, I told you it was on Rumble. Don't tell me it's on Rumble. I don't know where. Rumble's a big place. I don't know what channel it's on, where to find it. Rather than telling me where it is, bring it to me. Bathe it and bring it to me. That's what anyway, whether it's on Rumble or here, it's still going to be shitty audio. So we're just going to have to do the best with what we've got. A few housekeeping items. We've got our like and subscribe poll up. What do we got here? Our like and subscribe poll today is pretty basic, obviously, because my brain isn't functioning today. It was a rough day at the office where I had actually a lot of work to do, and my brain just kind of checked out. I just zombie moded some Elden Ring for a couple of hours. I only meant to do it for about 30, 45 minutes, but it turned out to be like 2.5 hours because that's how Elden Ring rolls. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and answer a little question. Do you like taking polls? Yes, no, and what kind of monster are you? Those are your three choices. I'm not sure what the third choice means, but that's kind of my response when people bring up polls. Oh, shoot. I think that's just about it. There's not a whole lot to do. It's going to be Thanksgiving in the U.S. in quite a while. I guess it's still Wednesday morning there. We're just about to push into Thursday here in Korea. So what we're going to be doing for Thanksgiving is nothing really special. Tomorrow will just be our regular old O.J. Simpson chill stream. It's kind of a celebration, I guess, because it's the last time that Andrea Mazzola will be on the stand. They're going to let her off the stand tomorrow, and then next week we will do closing arguments, and we'll continue through closing arguments for both sides, and then onto the verdict, and then we'll be done with O.J. Simpson. And Chandler and I will move on to a new trial. We'll announce it on the last day of the O.J. Simpson trial. But it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. We're going to cover it beginning to end because it was only about a 3-week trial. How interesting. I'm hearing noises from the living room from the dogs that shouldn't be coming from the living room. So let me see what's going on in the living room, shall we? Oh, great. Well, whatever. Yoda's an idiot. Fine. I hate my dogs. What do they do? How did you even get that? I am so sorry. Give me 20 seconds here. We need to sort this out. I shall return. Just one quick second. I'm so sorry. Hold tight, please. We'll be there in a second. How in the hell did you get that? Hello, I'm back. Well, solved that great mystery. Right, that mystery, that mystery was solved. That a little food container that I had taken to lunch with me at the office, and Yoda was chomping on it over here. And I'm like, how the hell? Turns out it was in my backpack. When I got home, I took stuff out of my backpack, left it kind of leaning on the corner of the table. I guess the empty food container slipped out and fell on the floor, and Yoda was chewing on it. Okay, there we go. All right, so where were we? I guess we were just kind of wrapping up our things as yet. So tomorrow will be O.J. Simpson, last of the O.J. Simpsons, coming up probably 2 weeks from tomorrow. Chandler Remington and I will start a new trial after we finish the closing arguments and the jury verdict. Friday. I'm not sure what to do on Friday yet. There's a lot of things running through my head. One is just to do a Friday chill stream because it'll be a lot of vacation day for people in the U.S. I might do it Friday evening. I don't know. But also there's some huge news in the Alex Murdaugh trial. It seems that y'all know Becky Hill, the clerk of court. Becky Hill's son got arrested, apparently for wiretapping. He's been arrested on suspicions of wiretapping. But interestingly, not sure what the connection is yet, but Tuesday, the day, I guess it was either Monday, I'm not sure if it was the same day or the day before Becky's son was arrested. Becky was forced to turn her cell phone, her mobile phone, over to the authorities. So within the space of either the same day or over a 2-day period, she was forced to turn her cell phone over to the cops, and her son was arrested for wiretapping. Well, Dana Loves Zuma says, how the F is what her son does relevant to the case? Well, we don't know. She's relevant to the case. She's forced to turn over her cell phone to the authorities, and then shortly thereafter, her son is arrested for wiretapping. Let's find out. We're gonna have to keep an eye on this one to see if they are completely independent and unrelated to things. In which case, Becky's probably in a worse situation than if they were somehow all related. Because if she's getting investigated for something else on top of what's going on in the Murdaugh trial, and if her son is somehow involved in something related to the Murdoch trial, or if he's off doing his own thing with mom's blessing or whatever. This is just something we're gonna have to look at. We're gonna have to check it out. And I'm trying to get some local guests to figure out what the hell's going on, but we'll have to follow it. So let's just see where that goes. We might talk a little bit about that on Friday. We might just do a chill stream. We'll just have to see how it goes. All right. So with that out of the way, I think we should get into the YNW Melly thing. And it just occurred to me as we sit here that I didn't send out a tweet that we are live. I should probably do that, shouldn't I? Let me quickly do this. I need someone to manage all of my accounts. Not because I'm too busy, just I can't be bothered. It's just a pain. Right, let's go here. We are live. Post this up real quick. We are live. Exclamation mark. Get in here. Exclamation mark. Paste. Prosecution defends Moretti's actions. Detective Moretti gives up his side of the allegations of his improper actions. Allegedly, prosecutor Boutros doubles down on her story. More evidence in court from the prosecution and other motions. There we go. We're getting set to start this today. And a couple more little button clicks, and we shall be right there. I apologize for doing this again. I'm wasting all your valuable time. But while I'm doing that, you can, send super chats or something. I don't know. Where are we going here? All right. What is wrong? What is wrong with Twitter? Twitter is just an absolute mess. All right. Boom. Copy. Paste the last thing. Boom. Doop. All right. Whatever. It is time to stop messing around and get down to business. What the business, y'all? And boom. Right. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Let's do this. As to where to start, I think we should go back to before Monday's hearing. And thankfully, Bass, who's been a member for 12 months, I think the 12-month memberships get the big horn. Yes, Becky, more like Buttkey. That's an odd way to spend that 12-month free membership, chat. And Blue Varoo says, member for 8 months. Thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. Woohoo! All right. That out of the way. I said, let's go back. Let's go back a ways and see what motions were submitted. I mean, what additional evidence was submitted by the prosecution? Because not too long before Monday's trial, I believe it was on the 20th. Yes, it was on 11/20, and the hearing was that day. So literally the morning of the hearing on Monday, they submitted some additional evidentiary documents. Now, we don't get to actually see the documents. We just have a list of what they are and what they contain. Some of it's very, very interesting. Some of it's questionable. And I'm curious what y'all think it's going to mean. All right. And just to, again, some background on this, we have Detective Moretti, who was the lead detective in the case. In a completely separate case where YNW Melly has been charged with 7 charges, 7 counts of witness tampering, or 7 charges related to witness tampering in relation to the first trial. But this is a completely separate trial. It's going to be investigated, and if it's prosecuted, it's going to be prosecuted completely separate from this. They're 2 different cases. But Detective Moretti, who was the lead detective in the murder trial, he went to serve a search warrant in another jurisdiction for YNW Melly's mother's cell phone. Well, turns out it may not have been legal because there was no police officer from that jurisdiction in the room when it was served. There's allegations that A little bit of excessive force may have been used in grabbing the phone out of YNW Melly's mother's hands when she refused to turn it over. There was a prosecutor in the room, and okay, I keep saying she was in the room. I'm not 100% sure if she was in the room or if she was in. I think she may have been in the hallway and overheard it. But what she overheard was Detective Moretti asking another local police officer, Officer Gurrell, essentially to falsify a statement saying he was in the room when he wasn't. Because if he's in the room, there's no question that it's a legal service of the search warrant. But he wasn't in the room. There's no question that he was not in the room. No one puts him inside the room. Moretti, according to Prosecutor Boutros, who her job is to prosecute police and prosecutor misconduct, she overhears Moretti say, if they ask you if you were in the room, tell them you were in the room, to which Gurrell allegedly responded, well, I was there if you needed me to be there. In a sense, saying, I'll be wherever you need me to be. You just tell me where I was, and that's where I was. And as she overheard this, she said, well, that's not right. That's bad news. So I'm going to have to tell the prosecutor, Ms. Bradley, what I just heard. And so she tells Bradley. Prosecutor Bradley essentially ignores it. So Boutros goes to the superiors, the high three people in the office, and tells them. They sort of basically kind of ignore it as well. And she says, I'm never working with Moretti on any case ever again because I can't trust an officer who would say something like that. And then we saw a while ago they brought Ms. Bradley back on the stand because the defense filed a motion to get the entire prosecution team off the case. They succeeded in getting Prosecutor Bradley thrown off the case. Why? Because she became a witness in the case. All right, get off the microphone. Get off the camera tripod. There you go. So she became a witness in the case because, well, she was told about Moretti and she did nothing about it. And so the defense said, when you put lead detective Moretti back on the stand in the second trial, we are bringing Miss Bradley in. The defense is going to call the lead prosecutor in the first trial to be a character witness against Detective Moretti. They're going to try to use her testimony to try to impeach him to show that he can't be trusted. That's kind of it in a nutshell. Well, they got Prosecutor Bradley thrown off the case. In an extraordinary move, the defense also got permission to re-depose Detective Moretti. To again bring him in a second. Usually you only get one time in Florida, but they argued and they got a second deposition regarding the search warrant, the service of the search warrant. And it either has been done, it was supposed to have been done on the 17th, but I don't think they got it done then. It's either ongoing or they're still planning on doing it. So they had this motion on Monday, these motion hearings. This was to suppress the evidence, I believe, the cell phone, and to figure out what kind of happened. And so before that sort of brings us up to speed. But before that, the morning of the hearing, Monday morning, the prosecution submitted this additional evidence. And we're going to look at that. Because on Monday, they called Boutros, the defense called Boutros to the stand and Moretti to the stand to talk about the search warrant. So this is what the prosecution came up with as evidence supposedly to support their case and to call into question the credibility of Ms. Boutros. Let's bring this screen up. Bring it up. Why are you not bringing it up? There we go. Let's see if we can embiggen that a little bit more. And while we're embiggening that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is a mega super chat, 2 mega super chats in a row. Woohoo! We've got Marv White with that 20. I'm a believer of any legit hint of misconduct should end with dismissal with prejudice. How else do you stop these cops and prosecutors from continuing to abuse the rules? I think I spell checked and proofread this one. Well, thanks. You know, to an extent, I don't think any legit hint of misconduct. I mean, if you can somehow rectify it, if you can somehow correct it without a mistrial, great. But if it's something super egregious like this, and here's the problem. Here's the problem with this case. If all of this had happened during the previous trial, if they had found out that the prosecution knew that their lead, their primary witness, the lead detective, had illegally searched a search warrant, had been accused of soliciting another police officer to lie under oath. The prosecutor had not told the defense about this, had not disclosed any of this to the defense. There's no question in my mind that would have ended in a mistrial, probably with prejudice. Now, if it had happened after the beginning of jury selection in the retrial, I think you still have an argument that, I mean, that the trial has started. Jeopardy attaches as soon as those first witnesses swear their oath to say, yes, we'll answer the questions truthfully and honestly while we're being chosen as jurors. That's where, so I think if it happens after the potential jurors are sworn in, which happened like October 18th, there's also an argument, but this happened between the two trials. This came to light. This came to light between the two trials. So ordinarily, one of the remedies would be a dismissal or a mistrial. There's no trial going on, so that you can't have a mistrial, and you can't dismiss. You can't have the mistrial because there's no mistrial going on. So you can't just sort of dismiss things. Your remedy is a new trial, and they're already getting the new trial as soon as the jurors start being selected back on October 18th. So I think the judge was in this position where that was really the only option. So I think it was just an unfortunate timing thing. That's my take on that. And K Squared with another big $20 super chat, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, hoping we all have many things to be grateful for this year. Love your hard work on explaining all the craziness. I can't explain all the craziness in this case, but to those of you in the U.S., on Thursday, when it is Thanksgiving Day, have a happy Thanksgiving. For me here in Korea, Costco didn't get any turkeys this year, and so it's hard to find a turkey place. It's either going to be just a really, really good food, some good food at some good restaurant somewhere, or KFC, because KFC sort of looks like a small turkey. So thank you so much for that generous super chat. And Jason J, just a few bad cops, right? Myth busted. Keep backing the blue until it happens to you, bootlickers. Wow. There you go. Jason J going hard in the paint. How do you really feel, though, Jason J? All right, with that out of the way, thank you so much, guys. You're so super. I love your support. You guys are great. Comes now the state of Florida, and this is the state's supplemental discovery motion. And that's kind of exactly what I hate this thing. I need to. It's a little better, I guess. The state's supplemental discovery. And we don't get to see this actual documents. We just get to see the list. There's three subpoenas signed by ASA, that's the Assistant State's Attorney, Michelle Boutros, for Detective Moretti on 10/17/23, 5 days post-incident, alleged by ASA Boutros. This should be 10/17/22. That's a mistype. It should have been October 17th, 2022. A Bank of America records, redacted account number, Cash App records, and Western Union records. All right, that's kind of basic, I guess. Nothing too dramatic there. But then we get to these text messages. There's some text message here. Shots of text messages between Assistant State's Attorney Michelle Sorry, I thought it was like Michelle Obama. Michelle Boutros and Detective Mark Moretti. The text messages between Boutros and Moretti. Screenshots of text messages. What could they possibly say? Screenshot number 1. Screenshot number 1, you'll see here is 5 days post-incident. The incident happened on October 12th, 2022. So this was on the morning that this search warrant was allegedly illegally served and may have been illegally seized, violation of Fourth Amendment rights to unlawful protection against unlawful searches and seizures. Detective Moretti at 10:18 a.m. initiates contact with Boutros, letting her know that he has arrived for the statement. I believe they were going to get a statement from his mother, from Melly's mother, and they were going to serve the search warrant on her while she was giving the statement. So Boutros responds, she'll be there in 5. She'll be there in 5 minutes. Daily Quick Bites says, at the end of the day, Boutros was just an employee whose refusal to work with Moretti would hold no water if she was ordered or required to by her job or superiors. He goes on to say, they're trying to make it sound like her refusal was bullshit, as if she were an independent attorney and could do what she chose. She wasn't. In the public defender's office, I mean, if they assign you a case, in most public defender's offices I know, or I'm sorry, not public defender's office, in the district attorney's office, they don't force you to take the case. And especially if it's known that there is a conflict between you and one of the witnesses. I mean, they can't say, okay, you do this case, even though we know you have a conflict of interest with one of the witnesses. That would be an automatic mistrial. If she says, I cannot work with this guy, they're not going to assign her to work with that guy on another case. Unless, it's not just like you will prosecute this case regardless of who the witnesses are. There is some leeway, there is some say in that, there is some give and take. I'm team prosecutor on this one. Good morning, Chandler. Good to see you here. Morning, all. She says, well, hopefully we'll be seeing her for OJ tomorrow. So the second screenshot was a few minutes later, but 2 days in the future. So the incident happened on 10/12. On 14th October 2022 at 10:23 a.m., 2 days post-incident alleged by Boutros. Boutros initiates contact with Detective Moretti, asking if he has had any luck getting into the phone, and follows up with asking if he can determine when the phone was activated. Creed M, no, this is a recap of what happened before Monday's hearing and Monday's hearing. There's nothing going on in the Melly case until next week. They're all gone for the holidays. So what we have here is, she put up this big stink, apparently, allegedly, that the Detective Moretti was behaving improperly and the prosecutor wasn't doing anything about it. She would never work with Moretti again because she believed this was probably an illegal search and seizure of the cell phone. But 2 days later, she's like, hey, did he get into that phone yet? Can you determine when the phone was activated? So is she shunning Moretti, or is she going, all right, even though it was illegal, let's work with it? Or did she not think it was an illegal search and seizure? These texts raise some questions about the credibility of Ms. Boutros, and this is why the prosecution wants them in, and this is why I so much wanted to hear the audio of Monday's hearing. I have no idea what it would take or cost to get a court transcript of that hearing, but that is something that I do want to listen to, because this was a very important hearing. We just kind of have to look at it from the bird's eye view in the media stories. So anyway, 2 days after this violation of Melly's mother's rights allegedly occurred, she's asking Moretti, hey, did you get in the phone yet? Well, fast forward 3 days after that, or 5 days after the incident. Screenshot number 3. Fear Not says, she was so animated and I knew there was something fishy about her. Boutros, a liar. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. Screenshot number 3. Detective Moretti initiates contact with Boutros, asking if she has a second to speak. Yo, Boutros, got a minute? That's the end of the text messages they have. Now they've got some emails. emails between Assistant State's Attorney Michelle Boutros and Detective Moretti. Please provide USB in order to view full email exchanges. So 10/11, this is the day before the search warrant is served. Boutros, and this is interesting, Boutros sends Detective Moretti case law on how an officer could make an arrest outside his jurisdiction with or without a warrant based on probable cause under the citizen's arrest theory. So Boutros has sent Moretti some case law saying, I don't know if it says you can arrest someone or you can't arrest someone. I presume it would say you can. So here's the conditions according to these cases that you can arrest someone outside of your jurisdiction without a warrant. Well, go ahead 9 minutes later. 9 minutes later, Boutros sends Detective Moretti more case law. More case law on affidavits of search warrants or warrants executed outside their jurisdiction being permissible. This might look bad, but it might also be a big nothing burger. So she's sending Moretti case law saying, okay, here's under these certain circumstances, it's possible to execute search warrants or arrest warrants outside of your jurisdiction. Now, without reading any further, we've got a couple of options. One, Boutros was upset not because it was an illegal search, but solely because Moretti allegedly asked another officer to perjure himself when it wasn't necessary for him to do so based on case law. That could have been her beef. It could have been her beef that she knew all along it was great and there was no problem with it, and she's making it all up. So there's a couple of ways this can go. Well, 4 minutes after that, the day before the search warrant is served, Detective Moretti responds to Boutros indicating that he really likes the first case, or the first one, the case sent by her, and that he was still reading it. So, oh, this first one's a really interesting case. I'm still reading it. 2 minutes later, Boutros responds to Detective Moretti, asking him to call her when he has finished reading the materials. Okay. And then, the morning of the alleged incident, Detective Moretti emails Boutros at 7:34 a.m. a signed copy of the search warrant to seize Ms. King's phone and asks if she would mind printing the warrant for him, as he would not have the opportunity to get to the office prior to the statement. All right, so here it is. Can you print it out and bring it when you come? He also informs Boutros that he will have someone from BSO present after their interview. It's the local cops. So he said, you bring the warrant and I will have someone from there present after the interview. So again, this kind of points back. This is why I want to hear the details. I want to see this. I want to hear this hearing. We're just speculating here. Was the conclusion that someone local had to be there in the presence of you when you are serving that out of jurisdiction warrant? Or was he just going to be there for another reason? We don't know. But Boutros responds, no problem. About 45 minutes later. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, this is 5 days later. Sorry, 5 days and 45 minutes later. Detective Moretti emails Boutros. Detective Moretti emails Boutros 3 subpoenas and provides an update on the case. Portions redacted as this information goes to a pending investigation. So 2 hours later, 2 hours after that, Boutros forwards the 3 subpoenas to her assistant to be prepared. 12:26, so a little over 2 hours after that, Assistant Ursula Knowles sends 3 prepared subpoenas to Boutros. An hour and 20 minutes after that, Boutros responds to an email from Detective Moretti sent that morning at 8:03, declining a warrant for another phone, and includes Bradley on said email to take a look at it and approve it if she's inclined to. Right? 3:19 p.m. Boutros signs all 3 subpoenas, approving them, and sends them back to Ursula Knowles. And they certify that those bits and pieces of evidence are accurate and all that sort of stuff. So, what we've got, see, a lot of people are pointing fingers and saying, aha, this proves that she knew it was okay. She knew she was in on it. It depends on how you interpret all of this. Because she's sending case law on how this has to be done. He just says, oh, I like this first case. We don't know what the first case says because we don't have access to it. But he does say, I will have another officer there after this happens. To me, that still indicates that the officer should have been present when it was served, because if, based on all this case law, it was not necessary for them to have this officer there, he wouldn't need to be there. And that kind of leads to this additional question of what exactly was her beef with Moretti? Was it the fact that the search was illegal, or that it was just him lying and getting someone else to lie? That's what was pointed out here by Silent PS. She could be saying, look, you could have stayed legal by this or that or the other, but instead you lied and you solicited another officer to perjure himself. That could be the beef. Not that it was an illegal, but just that she lied this, and he's encouraging this, and et cetera, et cetera. Fear Not said she said the case was done with her at that moment. Will not work with them anymore. Well, now there's no spoilers. Yet she contacts Moretti asking about the phone case. She was definitely paid. What do you mean paid? It's her job. She's the prosecutor. Well, that same morning, this was filed, at like 8:30 that morning? 8:50. 8:50 and 37 seconds on Monday, this was filed. Shortly on the heels of that, another state's additional discovery was filed. They gave us some more documents. Let's bring those up here. That's small. There we go. Really big in that. How's that? I can't see. Right. Ooh, too big. There. Okay. State's supplemental discovery. Some additional stuff that was served at 9:01. So about 11 minutes after that first batch of evidence was submitted, additional discovery comes in. So here they are, the additional things. State's previous submission. And it submits the following amendments or additions. Brittany Parker, Miramar Police Department, 11 Atlanta City Hall, prominent Miramar, Florida. Email from Public Corruption Unit Assistant State Attorney in Charge, Christopher Killeran's assistant, Ursula Knowles, to defendant's attorney, Jamie Benjamin. So email from the prosecution to the defense. On Tuesday, September 26, 2023, letting him know a USB of Miramar Police Department's investigation related to Detective Moretti is available for pickup. A year, 11 months after this happened, they found this all came to light. They got nailed, they got caught, and they're like, oh my God, give them this evidence. But they knew this was going on. They knew this was an issue. They knew the police department was investigating Detective Moretti. in relation to this incident before the first trial. And there's no question they should have told the defense about this before the first trial. They didn't tell him during the trial. They didn't tell him after the trial until almost the time the new jury was being seated, which was when, I guess, Boutros found out that this had never been reported, and she said, "We need to do this right now." And then they went through all this, and Bradley changed her story 3 or 4 different times as to what happened. So I guess now they're handing over some emails here saying, all that investigation file we've been holding, you can come pick that up now. It's on a USB drive. The email from the defense acknowledging Miss Knowles' email and asking if someone could bring it to Judge Murphy's courtroom at 9 a.m. the following morning. And the USB contents previously delivered to defense counsel via USB in court as requested. So here's what was on that USB drive that they eventually turned over a year after they should have turned it over. The BSO report, cover sheet, incident investigation report, authored by Deputy Adam Gorel. So this is Gorel, who received the alleged comment from Moretti. That's his report, and a supplemental report authored by Sergeant Jason Hendrick. Video surveillance video. This is interesting. Video surveillance video of the state's attorney office hallway near elevators and conference room, showing Sergeant Hendrick arriving via elevators, leaving via elevators, as well as Deputy Adam Gorel arriving via elevators, walking around, consistent with his statement of being lost, and leaving via elevators. Video also shows Ms. Jamie King and her attorney walking away from the hallway of the conference room and standing in the hallway chatting. This should be video. Or camera angles portray Ms. King using her hands to speak and make calls. Video later shows Ms. King and her attorney leaving, with Ms. King holding items in her hand. No, this is Dawn of My Requiem says, "Is it a video of the surveillance video playing on a TV?" I'm sure it's just from the video surveillance equipment itself, I would guess. Video surveillance video number 2 of the state's attorney conference room hallway. Video angle depicts Ms. King and her attorney showing up for the statement and entering the conference room. 11:27, 28 seconds. Sergeant Hendrick enters the conference room. 11:34, Sergeant Hendrick leaves the conference room. Shortly thereafter, at 11:42 and 10 seconds, Deputy Adam Gorel finds the correct conference room and enters. So he wandered around lost for a little bit, and then he finally unintercoursed himself and found out where he needs to be. 38 seconds later, at 11:42:48, Deputy Gorel leaves the conference room and heads toward the elevators. Now this is where things should be getting interesting. This is where it should be getting interesting. Let's see if this is where it gets interesting. So he goes in the room, he leaves the room in 38 seconds and heads towards the elevators. So they've backtracked here at 11:41:31. I'm not sure why they're not going in chronological order here, but anyway. Video angle also shows Ms. King and her attorney leaving the conference room, showing no signs of injury. She's alleging that there was excessive force used when Moretti ripped the phone out of her hand and took it from her forcibly. They can be observed standing in the hall talking. Ms. King is observed using both her hands, as well as using her hands to make calls from her attorney's phone. She's using her attorney's phone, so hers has been taken at this point. Ms. King and her attorney exit the conference room. So that's 11 minutes later, they exit the conference room. Ms. King is utilizing her hand to hold an item. Following her exit, Michelle Boutros and Detective Mark Moretti walk out of the conference room. Okay, so Boutros was in the conference room. Okay. So I'm guessing, again, this kind of adds a new thing to it. And if I can find out, any way I can find out, I don't know if Daily Quick Bites found the hearing or not over on Rumble. Hopefully it's there somewhere. But this sort of seems to imply if Boutros is in the conference room while the phone is being taken and the search warrant being served, that indicates she believed it was a valid search warrant and an extra jurisdictional search warrant was valid, which indicates that her main problem with Moretti was him lying about what happened and him soliciting another police officer to lie about it. Well, we'll have to see what we can find out more about that. Jamal 7 Israel says Boutros is a liar. We're torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool here. We got Camp Boutros and Camp Not Boutros. We'll have to put up a poll here in just a second, I believe. As soon as we get through this motion, we'll put up a poll about what you think about Ms. Boutros, and you can sound off. And they also submitted a complaint written by Ms. King's attorney, Robert Trockman, to Miramar PD dated July 12th, 2023. And a letter from Miramar Internal Affairs Sergeant Brittany Parker to Robert Trockman, Ms. King's attorney, dated 25th, acknowledging receipt of the complaint. So on July 12th of this year is when Melly's mother filed the complaint against the police department. An email from Boutros to Brittany Parker, she's the internal affairs lady, dated 27th, in which Boutros forwarded an email to Sergeant Parker, where Boutros emailed on the record reporting, the court reporting service, to determine whether she had a court reporter present for Ms. King's statement on October 12th, 2022. The response indicated the request to have a court reporter present was canceled. Okay. So there was no court reporter present during this meeting. So we don't know exactly what was said. If there would have been a court reporter there, they could have just read back what was said in that courtroom. History. All right. Subpoena provided to Ms. Jamie King for her statement with ASA Boutros and Detective Moretti. Right, that makes sense that she was there to give a statement to them about the case, so they both would be in the room. Interesting. Well, a final memo, 9 pages from Sergeant Brittany Parker, closing out the internal affairs complaint. Findings from the recorded audio include, so here's some of the findings from the internal affairs investigation against Detective Moretti. Ms. King verbally and physically refusing to provide Detective Moretti with her cell phone for over 2 minutes despite being served with a search warrant. Well, if it was illegal, she doesn't have to turn it over. ASA Boutros, and that's the question, was it illegal or not, or was it just him lying that pissed Boutros off? Boutros informed Ms. King she needed to hand her phone over, but she persisted in refusing. Daily Quick Bite says, unfortunately, this is the only copy of the Monday Melly hearing that still exists as far as I've been able to find. You're going to want to fast forward past the commentator, though. Trust me. Right. And where can I find this? Have you... All right, I'm checking here. There's... I do not know how you sent it here. All right, anywho. Yeah. There's no link if you sent a link. If possible, if you do have a link directly to it, send it to me over on The Legal Vices on Twitter. I refuse to say X. Anywho, let's get back to this. So, Ms. King attempted to turn her cell phone off, which could have deleted the data, and Detective Moretti grabbed the cell phone from her hand. Upon the grabbing of her phone, Ms. King said, "Ouch." Ms. King showed no signs of pain in her wrist or fingers on video. What does that look like? What does pain in your finger and your wrist look like on video, I wonder? Deputy Gurrell was in the conference room for a total of 38 seconds. Ms. King and Mr. Trackman walked back into the conference room 3 minutes after Deputy Gurrell left. During this second portion of the audio statement, Boutros can be heard telling Ms. King it appeared she was trying to turn off her cell phone. So that's when Deputy Gurrell came in and left. She still had possession of her cell phone while Gurrell was in the room. After he left, it was there. And that's when it all went down, brother. So both Detective Moretti and Boutros can be heard in the audio indicating Ms. King was attempting to turn off her phone, and both agreed they saw the power off screen appear on Ms. King's phone. Okay. Well, Sergeant Parker notes, Sergeant Parker is the internal affairs person that's preparing this report. Sergeant Parker notes Boutros' sworn statement is inconsistent with the audio recording due to the fact that she told Sergeant Parker she did not see Ms. King attempt to turn off her phone. So here they're calling Boutros' testimony, her credibility into question. You said you didn't see her try to turn off her phone, but when listening to the audio, it's clear that you saw her trying to turn off her phone. So they're trying to say that she's giving inconsistent statements as well, not just Moretti and Bradley. Excuse me. Deputy Gurrell's sworn statement and sworn police report refute the accusations that Detective Moretti asked Deputy Gurrell to declare he was present during the execution of the search warrant. That's really up in the air. That's why there should have been a court reporter reporting all this. Because one of the officers who may have committed a major crime by I don't think he went through with it, but who was in line to do something really bad. He could be looking after his buddy and going, nope, I didn't see it, didn't hear it. That's not what happened. Someone who's a subject of this issue is giving statements that say, no, that never happened. Maybe a little self-serving, maybe a little, protecting your fellow officers. Who knows? No court reporter present. And not sure why there wasn't a video of this, but Miramar Police Department closeout letter sent to Ms. King from Sergeant Brittany dated September 13th, 2023, indicating Ms. King of their inability to find any substantial evidence to support her allegations. So they sent the letter in July making these accusations against Moretti and in the police department. It's investigated, and the internal affairs people, they send a letter back August 2 months later saying, yeah, we couldn't find anything to corroborate your statements. There's an audio statement of Jamie King, Part 1, an audio statement of Jamie King, Part 2, and Jamie King return motion filed by her attorney, Robert Trackman, in signed order by Honorable Judge Martin Fine, denying said motion. Well, there's also a Boutros incident note to Sergeant Brittany Parker, emailed on 7/25/23. Detective Moretti, supplemental report dated October 18th, 2022, regarding the incident on October 12th, 2022. There's so many typos in this. Ugh. There's a sworn statement of Gurrell, sworn statement of Boutros, sworn statement of Hendricks. These are all from August 23. And Robert Trackman's got a sworn statement in there. Jamie King's statement to IA Brittany Parker here. Transcript of the hearing in Judge Martin Fine. In Ray, Jamie King's motion to return property. Give me back my cell phone. That's what that was. Robert Trackman questioned Detective Moretti, who testified under oath on, I guess that'd be February 10th, prior to Ms. King filing her complaint. Detective Moretti stated no deputy was present during the seizure of Ms. King's phone. All right. Here's what Judge Martin Fine ruled on this. This was the motion to give me back my phone. Number one, I agree with the state. It's a pending investigation. I couldn't release the phone anyway. So they're saying, sorry, your phone is the subject of an ongoing investigation. So we're going to keep it and we're going to keep investigating it. Number 2, I don't find any problem with Detective Moretti. He is named in the order as a person, and it says and or. It lists 5 other agencies, one of them being Broward County Sheriff, but there's 4 other agencies listed as well. I don't agree with the grammatical syntax interpretation of the defense is arguing. I don't find any problem with it, so on both fronts, respectfully, at this point, the motion is denied without prejudice to Ms. King seeking her personal property back at some time when it's no longer the subject of an investigation. So when it's not the subject of the investigation later, some point in the future, come back and get your phone. So what the judge here in this case was saying, there was nothing wrong with searching, with the search warrant. So that brings us back to the second scenario that we thought of before, that perhaps Boutros' problem wasn't with the legality of the search warrant. Her problem was Moretti lying about it and soliciting allegedly another officer to commit perjury in relation to that search warrant. Daily Quick Bites, inconsistent and lied aren't the same thing necessarily. That is absolutely correct. Lying is an intentional truth. Inconsistent means there could be different recollections. And that's the end of that particular submission of additional evidence by the prosecution. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna put this little part here on pause for a minute. That all leads up to Monday's hearing. And before we get to that, let's kind of shake it out. We need Megan Fox here to tell us to do squats, kind of shake it up a bit. Stretch. We've been going at this for an hour. All right, we got 426 of you here. Well, thank you so very, very much. And we are exactly halfway to Doggo Cam. That's pretty sweet. Strawberry's over here, just kind of sleeping, waiting to make her entrance if we unlock that particular achievement on this lovely Thanksgiving. Now it is 1 minute into Thanksgiving in Korea, but Korea doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. So if Korea was America and America was Korea, then it would be Thanksgiving. Don't know why I brought that up, but that's just the way of it. Let's see. I was going to say something, and I can't remember what it was. But anywho, we've got 433 peeps here, 266 likes, half of you, almost half of you haven't done your job. So while I'm putting up this poll, we're going to put up a Boutros poll. What you think of Boutros? And while I'm doing that, everybody pop on down there. Oh, let me embiggen myself. Why am I so small? You're small, Lorax. That's what she said. But actually, it's never been said. You protest too much. Shut up, Jeff. Internal monologue. Keep it internal. Sorry. That's the end of the poll. 46% of you said you like polls. 47% said 40% said what kind of monster are you, and 13% of you said you don't like polls. So new poll here. New poll. Let's see. Like and subscribe, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? This is a like and subscribe poll. You should take the poll after you have liked the video, liked the stream, and checked to make sure you are subbed. Subscribe poll. How do we want to word this? Is Prosecutor Boutros, Boutros, is Prosecutor Boutros telling the truth? As she remembers it? Or lying? Truth, lie. And we'll put up a don't know just for you fence sitters. There we go. The new poll, the Boutros poll is up. We've got we got about 60 more subscribers during that. So thank you. I wish there were 60 more subscribers. We got 60 more likes during that. So hey, cool, thanks. Thank you for those likes. Keep those likes coming. We should get that up to about 400 right now. That'd be very, very quick. We can do that instantly. And take the new like and subscribe poll. In the couple of seconds it's been up, We've got 47% say she's speaking the truth, 29% say she's spouting lies, and 20% say don't know. So this could go either way. We've only got 43 votes in here. That's 1/10 of the people in chat watching this thing live. So pop on over there and see what it is. Make your own vote, and we'll get back to this. Swan Lake Lady says, I'm lost, so King's lawyer just sat there like a lump and did nothing while the cell phone was being taken from his client. Well, I mean, you can't get involved in the combat. Did he even read the search warrant for the phone? So, I mean, we kind of have to shift ourselves here, I think, because there was a prosecutor in the room when it was served. Her lawyer was there, and a judge said there was no problem with it being served. So we have to shift away from the scandal, if you will. I hate air quotes. From the apparent scandal. We have to shift the focus from the search warrant in and of itself being illegal. I mean, there's no question. There was never any question that the search warrant was illegal. There's never been a question of that. I and other people had a question as to whether it was served improperly, which would make it an illegal seizure. Was it served improperly? So I think we need to shift our focus from whether or not it was served improperly, because her lawyer didn't put up much of a stink. There was a prosecutor on hand. There was a cop there. A judge said there was no problem with it. So I think we need to shift from that and shift our focus to just Moretti being a liar, allegedly. So it seems that's what the primary beef that Boutros had with Moretti was. Not that he illegally served the search warrant, but that he possibly lied about serving it and possibly solicited another police officer to lie about it, to commit perjury, if you will. Tangled webs on this thing. All right. That takes us up to some of the news articles. Let's read a couple of news articles about what happened. What happened Monday at the hearing? That's what we all want to know. At least that's what I want to know. I want to know what happened at this hearing on Monday. I pulled up 3 news articles. Again, there's a lot of overlap, but there's a lot of unique and new information in each of these articles. So we'll kind of graze through them, browse through them until they start becoming too repetitive. And wow, Strawberry snoring up a storm over there. I don't know if you can hear the dog snoring, but it's really loud to me. All right, let's see. Hop on over here and go 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's see. Share screen. Oh God, you guys. How do you not hear that? You guys hear it when she's being really, really quiet. Now she's just snoring up a storm, and nobody can hear it. All right, whatevs. Well, this is the Miami Herald. Miami Herald from November 22nd, 2023. Another account emerges as detective in YNW MELLY case takes the stand. What did he say? That's the real question, isn't it? What did he say? Let's see if we can big this a little bit more. For the first time, the lead detective in YNW MELLY's double murder case detailed his recollection of the October 2022 incident in which he was accused of wrongdoing. Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti, while on the stand Monday, denied the accusations that he solicited a Broward County Sheriff's Office deputy to lie. Moretti also vouched for his execution of the search warrant for the phone of Jamie King, Melly's mother. The phone was seized in Fort Lauderdale, which the defense argues falls outside of Moretti's jurisdiction, a claim they have repeated to back up efforts to get the key evidence thrown out. There's Mr. Moretti over there. In 2022, Moretti was taking a statement from King in a conference room at the Broward courthouse. Prosecutor Michelle Boutros, King's attorney Robert Trockman, and Broward Sheriff's Office Sergeant Jason Hendrick were also there at the time. At some point, Hendrick stepped out, and Moretti executed a search warrant for King's phone. Shortly thereafter, BSO Deputy Adam Gurrell arrived at the conference room. When King and Trockman left, Moretti allegedly made a comment to Gurrell about saying he was present while the search warrant was executed. But accounts of what Moretti said or didn't say differ among the parties. According to a filing by former prosecutor Christine Bradley, Moretti asked Gurrell whether he was there when the phone was taken, and Gurrell mentioned something along the lines of, "I can be if you needed me to be." Melly's legal team previously accused Bradley of a Brady violation or concealing information favorable to the defense for allegedly not divulging details about the incident. Now, Bradley was ousted from the retrial last month. Under Florida law, prosecutors are required to disclose any information that may be favorable to the defense. The discovery of Brady violations in some cases have even led to overturned convictions. Moretti on the stand. This is what we came here for. Moretti on the stand on Monday. Moretti on the stand said he couldn't recall exactly what he told the deputy, but said he asked about Gurrell's whereabouts. According to the detective, Gurrell jokingly responded with something along the lines of, "I can be anywhere you want me to be." Huh. It was just a joke. It was all a joke. You can explain things away as a joke. Oh, ha. We're just joking about this, right? Right? You really weren't anywhere you wanted me to be, right? Yeah. When cops and prosecutors are joking about where were you? Remember, if someone asks you where you were when this was served, what's your answer? Why would you joke? Why would you joke about that? And if it is an inappropriate joke, again, that's on you. Defense attorney Daniel Aronson presented Moretti with copies of Brady notices filed by the prosecution. When referencing one written by Bradley, Moretti said he guessed the prosecutor was mistaken and said he doesn't know where she got that information. Moretti maintained that he told Bradley that Gurrell made a joke and that was it. Earlier in his testimony, the detective also referred to how King fidgeted with her phone, so he yanked it out of her hand to prevent her from turning it on. All right. That's stop yanking things. I have the right to still take the evidence and protect it from being destroyed. And that's what was happening in my presence, the detective said. Well, familiar faces take the stand. Public Corruptions Unit Prosecutor Michelle Boutros, she who was involved in a possible inquiry into King allegedly tampering with witnesses, testified again in court on Monday. She was presented with subpoenas that she signed, as well as copies of emails between her and Moretti. Those are the ones that we just talked about. Wouldn't it be nice if we could actually see them? I think we haven't seen anything yet from Daily Quick Bites. On Monday, the state turned over to the defense additional evidence related to the incident, including the email and text exchanges between Boutros and Moretti and incident reports by BSO and Miramar Police. In a September memo, Internal Affairs Sergeant Brittany Parker closed a complaint made by King against Moretti, also writing that Boutros's claims about the detective contradicted Gurrell's sworn statement. That's the former prosecutor there. I don't know. Getting curiouser and curiouser it is. Boutros denied having a vendetta against Moretti. In his cross-examination, prosecutor Justin Griffiths mentioned that Boutros had worked with Moretti 3 times previously, though she said she didn't remember that. Daily Quick Bite says, I don't do X Twitter, trying to figure out another way to do it. I ripped it, but it's quite long. 2.69 gigabytes. Yoink. That is quite long. Well, if you can just send the Rumble link to my email, that might be a good way to do the email, thelegalvices@gmail.com. Send the link. We can just bring the link on up. Thelegalvices@gmail.com is the email address to get to moi. So, Boutros says, I never questioned the validity of the investigation, she said on the stand. I questioned my ability to work with a detective who would say something like that. So, okay, that is her finally saying she doesn't have a problem with the validity of the investigation, the search warrant, etc., the way it was served. She just has a problem with her ability to work with a detective who would say something like that. All right. Well, see this thing back here. 3 times previously, she couldn't remember working with him. As we heard in yesterday's hearing from the defense, apparently it was like 13 years ago. They were saying, aha, she said she doesn't remember working with him. And she did. She worked with him 13 years ago. So they were the prosecution was trying to call her credibility into question by pointing out she failed to remember working with a random police officer 13 years ago. Well, all right, that's the end of that particular story. And another telling of the incident. Let's see, where'd my screen go? I need to get another monitor. All right. Oh, and while we're here, it's Bass, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, edging us even closer to unlocking the achievement of Taco Can. Utilizing her hand to hold an item, seriously? Couldn't just say holds an item in her hand? No, that doesn't sound official. It doesn't say smell like weed in the car. They detected the odor of cannabis products or cannabinoids. You know, that makes them sound more smart. SMRT. All right. Baz with $1.99. Ms. King utilized her sound hole to say ouch. Exactly. Please don't ever use the phrase sound hole again. Thank you very much. I think I've decided that the term sound hole is like moist. It makes people uncomfortable, and by that term makes me uncomfortable. Eric Foams smells like kush. Lemon to be exact. Get that kush. Well, it's demons, not demons. It's demons. It's sort of the British version of demons, I believe. Anyway, no, definitely not a moist sound hole. Katie, penalty box. 5 minutes for instigating. Go to the penalty. Go to the bad girls' room. Go to the bad girls' room. Okay, Daily Quick Bite says sent it. Let's check on this, shall we? Your mail. Email. Rigor Vices. That's me. Yes, it is there. All right, cool. Fast forward past the commenter. All right. We'll check that out at the end of the day here and see how much time we've got, see if we want to sit through it or if we just want to do a whole new stream about it. Cool. Stop. Stop with the moist sound hole things. All right. Degenerates. I love you all. Wait. What's happening here? I closed the window, but it's still there. Aha, I thought there was 3 articles. There's 4 because I'm prepared. I'm uber prepared. That's me. When I prepare, you get lots of preparation. You get all the preparation. Rapper YNW Melly. That's our man. Our rapper YNW Melly listens to defense question Miramar detective who accused him of killing friends. What, now he's being blamed for Matthew Perry? Oh, sorry, was that too soon? I couldn't resist. Right, how are we doing? Are we? Yeah, I guess we're sufficiently big. There's a boy Mel's. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Rapper Jamel YNW Melly Demons was back in court on Tuesday for a motion hearing. Oh, this is Tuesday. Wow, is this? Oh, okay. Right. So this was yesterday, but the 24-year-old musician from Gifford, listened to the testimony of a Miramar detective who accused him of killing his friends about 5 years ago. Chat, stop it. Rapper Christopher YNW Juvie, and it would have been Juvie's birthday 2 days ago, on the 20th. 20 would have been Juvie's birthday, as I recall. F in chat for Juvie. Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams were fatally shot while in a Jeep Compass on October 26, 2018. After a recording session, yes, we know all this, Detective Moretti was assigned. YNW Borland arrived at a hospital in Miramar driving a bullet-riddled Jeep with Thomas and Williams dead. He reported there was a drive-by shooting. The original warrant. Okay, the defense claims Moretti worked outside. Okay. Moretti stated, just we know all this. Boutros testified on Monday in court about how some cell phones were seized as evidence in the case against Demons. The defense claims Moretti worked outside of his jurisdiction and seized a phone that was not listed in the original warrant. Oh, that's a new argument. Okay. That was right. No, they're getting confused. The phone that was not listed. No, that's not what happened. Anyway, we did not get all the data that we requested, Moretti said in court about one of the phones he seized. Boutros testified about the process Moretti followed to seize the phones belonging to Demon's mother, Jamie King, and his girlfriend at the time, Mariah Hamilton. Moretti allegedly argued Hamilton had abandoned her phone at someone else's home and a Broward Sheriff's deputy just abandoned her phone? Or do you mean left it at a friend's house? Hamilton had abandoned her phone at someone else's home, and a Broward Sheriff's Office deputy was present when King handed her over her phone in Fort Lauderdale. Demon's defense accused Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley, the former prosecutor in the case, of covering up Boutros' report about Moretti, allegedly asking Deputy Adam Gurrell to lie about being in the room. Gurrell denied the report. Moretti said he was joking. Earlier this year, after a hung jury, prosecution accused Demons of using his alleged position as a member of the Bloods gang to ask fellow inmate Terrence Mathis, another alleged Bloods member, to help him get a message to Henry to prevent his ex-girlfriend from testifying. Is Terrence Mathis, is he the court snitch that was in the extension? What the hell is it? The triple extension cord guy? Extension, is that what the hell his name was? Extension? What? Anyway, the triple X guy, not Hunter Hearst Helmsley. See, he was the snitch in that case, right? Is that who Terrence Mathis was? Anywho, Demons is waiting for a retrial for the murders, and Henry is awaiting trial. Their defense wants the cases against them dropped, and the prosecution wants to continue the jury selection. This is a developing story. Temptation. That's what it's XXX Temptation. Temptation. XXX Attention. You guys don't know either, but the Temptation is correct. I just couldn't remember because, frankly, I don't give a shit. Right. The next story, we're starting to get a little bit bigger of a picture as to what happened. Melly's mother was 13, I believe, when she had Melly. So they're kind of like friends, I guess. Why can't we be Sun Sentinel? The lead detective in the murder trial. I don't have to do that. The lead detective in the murder trial of rapper Jamel YNW Melly Demons returned to the stand Monday without a jury to shed light on the execution of a search warrant on the defendant's mother last year. Miramar, if you ever say this, I was joking. Miramar Police Detective Mark Moretti had been accused of asking a Broward Sheriff's deputy to lie about his presence when a cell phone was seized from Jamie King, Demon's mother. Moretti was investigating allegations that Demons and his supporters were engaged in witness tampering. According to Michelle Boutros, a Broward prosecutor who was present at the time, Moretti asked the deputy to lie about being in the room. We've gone through all this. Let's get down to the actual what happened in court bit. Boutros was also called to the stand Monday to reinforce the testimony she had previously given. Defense lawyers are asking Broward Circuit Judge John J. Murphy for permission to continue exploring the discrepancy between Boutros' account of the search warrant seizure and Moretti's account. So the discrepancy between Boutros' account and Moretti's account. That's what they were trying to get through yesterday. Demons is accused of murdering two friends, fellow rappers Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie F in chat Thomas, after a recording session 5 years ago. His first oh my God, I hate reporters these days. Where's the fucking story? this whole thing, look at the fucking title. Detective in YNW Melly trial returns to the stand to testify about a cell phone search warrant. That's literally that's the only current news in this article. This just gives you the background. It says Boutros was also called to reinforce the testimony she previously given. What the fuck did they say? Oh my God, I hate journalism. I hate I won't say the vast majority of journalism, a lot of journalists out there. This is lazy ass reporting. This is some bullshit reporting. South Florida Sun Sentinel, you should be ashamed of this story. Get someone's ass in the courtroom or talk to someone that was there. Find out what the hell they said and report that. Don't just have like your headline and one other sentence be the only things you talk about in relation to the hearing. It's an article about the hearing. Make it an article about the fucking hearing, not about what happened before that. Grumpy old man, get off my lawn. I didn't say all journalists. I said a lot of them. And Megan is very, very good about the who, what, when, where, why. This person for the South Florida Sun Sentinel is not a good journalist. Frustrating. Right. Our last chance to learn anything about what happened. Oh, they've removed the background for this picture. Rapper YNW Melly back in Broward court for double murder retrial. Oh my heavens. We haven't listened to Judge Manning for a while. We need to go back and do some Judge Manning react videos fairly soon. Because we're gonna, with all the trials coming up, it's gonna be a long haul if they all go off as scheduled. Right. Let's see. Oh, that's very, very small, Mr. Lorax. Again, making me ashamed. There we go. How's that? Yeah, there we go. That's good enough. All right. As jury selection continues in the murder retrial of local rapper YNW Melly, a key detective in the case is being asked more questions on the stand. Okay, let's see if we actually get a story about what those freaking questions were. Today, the defense redeposed Miramar detective. Okay, so that being on the stand is not a deposition. They questioned him. They didn't. God dang it. I'm going to start hyperventilating here in a second. Jeff, if Melly's mom asked you out, would you say yes? Oh, no. Probably not. Yeah, I'm just going to say probably not. Today, the defense redeposed Miramar detective Mark Moretti about evidence on social media the day two of the rapper's friends were shot to death in 2018. Specifically, Moretti answered questions about a warrant for Facebook posts on the day of the murders involving images in which Melly was tagged wearing shirts memorializing the deceased in this case. Jury selection. Are you serious? That's it. Jury selection in the retrial began in October and is expected to run through December. Melly, whose legal name Jamel Demons, faces life in prison if he faces the fucking death penalty. Oh, I give up. Pull the ripcord on these articles. Boy, this jerk. This is what happens. You young whippersnappers back in the day, journalists went out and they investigated stories. They took pride in their work. Now it's just Twitter and bullshit and sound bites and 120 characters or less and copying and pasting. AI probably would have written a better article than that. Pretty mama bear says, I can't wait till this trial's over. I can't wait till it starts. Shake your fist at the clouds. I'm cold and I'm wet and there are wolves chasing me. Right. So we're going to be up against a lot of trials here if everything goes according to schedule. Sarah Boone is supposed to start the 11th of December, I believe. Courtney Clenny is supposed to start the 15th of December. So they might overlap. If they both go ahead, they will be overlapping trials. I've sort of made the decision that if the trials do overlap, if Sarah Boone overlaps with Courtney Clenny, I will be doing the Sarah Boone trial. Why? Because this is a horrible thing to say. Why would I be following Sarah Boone and not Courtney Clenny trial? Because I think the Sarah Boone case is funnier. I want to know how dude got in the suitcase. I mean, I have a lot of questions. Courtney Clenny is pretty easy, assuming she's guilty. Cough, cough. Assuming, yeah, she's a nut job living with a beta male, and she just kind of stabbed him in the face or in the chest because she's nuts. Boone is a little bit more involved. I'm thinking there's a good chance that Sarah Boone might plea out, but we'll just have to see. But if they Flux says, I'm so excited for Sarah Boone. Yeah, I will be following Sarah Boone just because I think it's going to be a funnier trial, because she's like smart crazy, where Courtney Clenny is just thought crazy. Sarah is a sane lady. Just ask her. She's also a great lawyer, better than anybody else. Ralph 707, I'm laughing so hard right now. Don't laugh. It's a terrible tragedy. Dude got zipped into a suitcase, pushed down the stairs, and left there. Oh, shoot. That's not a good thing. All righty. Wow. How are we doing on time? We got about 30 minutes. I'm going to check out this link here to Rumble and see what we've got. The Daily Quick Bites viewer extraordinaire has brought to the table. Mickey Truth is the what do you want to call this? The channel. 3 hours. Yoink. Okay, that solved that problem. Let me just hear what the audio sounds like here. It sounds very, very quiet. Because I don't have the volume. Huh. Yep, audio shit. But it's hearable. I think. Yeah, okay, it's not too bad. All right, command decision here. We'll watch that next week. Or maybe we'll do that Friday. Maybe we'll do it on Friday. Yeah, we might do that on Friday because I haven't really decided what else to do. We'll just have to see how it goes. But for the rest of today, we have to go back and answer a couple of questions. And before we do that, shout out to the 435 people here. We've got the likes up to 329. We're only 100 behind. 100 of you just get down there and slap that thing. Just spank that like button. Legal Vice, I use Volume Booster. I think you have the same one. I use Volume Control is what it's called. But same thing, same basic deal, 600%. Yeah, so it's listenable. Thank you so much for that, Daily Quick Bite. We'll do that on Friday. All right. Cool. Now what we've got is a couple of motions. How much of this can we get through? Excuse me. All right. We might be able to get through all of it. I'm doing my part. We need a Clue version based on these trials to business with the suitcase at the parade. No. Oh, something about a moist hole. Anyway. Right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at an order. There was a motion that was made. There were arguments on it. It was to suppress evidence. It was a defense motion to suppress evidence. The court denied the motion. What the motion was, it was a motion to suppress evidence that suggested that Demmons and Williams were sharing money, and that Williams, now deceased, owed Melly money. So that goes back to the prosecutor's arguments, or they didn't actually argue motive. They hinted at the possibility that it may have had something to do with Williams owing Demons money. And the defense made a motion to try to limit or throw out evidence that there was any agreement between Demons and Williams as to the sharing of money. So let's just read through this very short motion denying this and why. The cause came before the court on defendant's motion in limine agreement between Demons and Williams as to the sharing of any money, filed on September 26, 2023. The court held a hearing on the motion on November 9th, 2023. Having considered defendant's motion, arguments of counsel, the court filed applicable law, and otherwise being fully advised, the court finds as follows. Defendant moves this court to preclude the state from referencing in their opening statements that the evidence presented will show that defendant owed Williams money or that Williams was entitled to a share of defendant's profits. And that's the opposite. Not that Williams owed him money, that he owed Williams money. That's interesting. So yeah, apparently the state may plan on saying that defendant owed the victim money, or that the deceased person was entitled to some of defendant's profits in order to show a financial motive for the murders. The state argues that it intends to introduce evidence of such a motive and should be allowed to discuss it in opening statements. The court finds that the state can make references in their opening statement to any evidence if it has a good faith belief that the evidence will be admitted as at trial. So that's an important thing. You can't just say a bunch of shit in opening statements. It has to be a roadmap. It has to be, this is what the evidence will show. And if you say this is what the evidence will show, and you really mean it, but you just don't get around to that evidence, that's okay. But if you say the evidence is going to show this, and you have no intention whatsoever, you just want to spew some bullshit there in opening statements, that is a problem. So the state saying that if the judge is saying that if the state actually really believes in good faith that they actually are going to provide evidence that there was this motive that Demons owed him money or that he agreed to share profits, then you can talk about it. But if you have no intention of bringing it up in trial, this is the parenthetical part. In parentheses, in imaginary parentheses, it says, but if you have no intention of putting on any of this evidence, you can't bring it up. So they can make references in their opening statement to any evidence if it has a good faith belief that the evidence will be admitted at trial. As long as the evidence is probative, it is up to the jury to decide what weight to give it and what inferences to draw from it. The court has no doubt that the state is aware of its ethical duties as well as the potential consequences of referencing evidence in their opening statement that will not be introduced at trial. So if you say it, you better show the evidence or there will be consequences. That's what's being said there. So that was that particular order there. Now, coming on over here for the last little bit, we're going to answer a question. We're going to answer a question that's been out there for quite some time. Oh, hey, Indigo Luna, what's up? Not ethical duties. Come on, you're better than that. Oh my God, Wolfram. No, that's a, if I had a red card, I would like red card you from the game right now. No. Okay. We know that Prosecutor Bradley got ejected from the game because she is probably going to be a witness for the defense to call Moretti's character and reliability into question when he's on the stand. But a lot of you, myself included, said, well, why? Because they made a motion to get rid of everybody in the prosecutor's office. We were wondering, why weren't the higher ups? Why weren't they shut out of this as well? Why wasn't the entire office shut out? The answer was, I don't know. But we have the answer now. We have the answer because now we have a copy of the order denying the defendant's motion to recuse the state's attorney's office. So Here's the legal reasoning. Here's the rationale we're going to look at for why the court only got rid of Bradley and didn't get rid of everybody else in the prosecutor's office. Joe Choi only nipped into the kitchen and chat goes wild. Alan knows what's in the box. Make it stop. Right. Well, Jennifer says Judge has no balls. Let's see if he has good. It doesn't matter whether he has balls or not. It matters whether he has good sound legal reasoning. So let's look at that. And Eric Foams, shame on you. Dirty man. Right. Okay. Let's see. We don't have anything to read. Cough, cough, hint, hint. How are we doing here? Oh, we're still halfway to Doggo Cam. That's all. It's been a quiet 45 minutes on the super chat front. Just saying. Righto. Let's bring up the screen. Where are we at here? Stop screen. We don't want to stop screen. We want to share screen. Boop. Zzz. We don't need sound effects. That's what my mother always said. We don't need you to do a sound effect. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, and Eric Foams. Order denying defendant's motion to recuse State's Attorney's Office of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida. This cause came before the court on defendant's motion to recuse State Attorney's Office of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida, filed on September 29, 2023. The state filed a response on October 6th. The court held hearings on the motion on October 6th and October 11th. Having considered the state's motion, defendant's response, and state's memorandum of law, defendant's memorandum of law, the evidence presented, arguments of counsel, the court file applicable law, and otherwise being fully advised, the court finds as follows. Defendant intends to call Assistant State Attorney Michelle Boutros and lead prosecutor Assistant State Attorney Christine Bradley in this case in chief to impeach the testimony of the lead detective in this case, Detective Mark Moretti. Okay, first paragraph, no surprises. At the hearing on the motion, Ms. Boutros testified that she was present when Detective Moretti executed a search warrant for the defendant's mother's cellular phone on October 12, 2022. Although the search warrant was executed at the State Attorney's Office in Broward County Judicial Complex building, no Broward Sheriff's Office deputy was present during the execution of the search warrant. Ms. Boutros also testified that when BSO Deputy Adam Gurrell later entered the room, Detective Moretti instructed him to say he was present when the search warrant was executed, even though he was not. Ms. Boutros did not believe that Detective Moretti was joking and was perturbed. Perturbed is a good word. Perturbed is she was perturbed by what took place. On October 18th, 2022, Ms. Boutros met with State Attorney Harold Pryor. So this is back right after it happened. It happened on the 12th of October, so 6 days later, she meets with State Attorney Harold Pryor. He is the state's attorney. He is essentially the district attorney for that county. It's the highest elected position in the county for the courts and for the prosecution, for the district attorney's office. So she met with the head guy, Chief Assistant State Attorney Regina Falk, and Assistant State Attorney Christopher Killeran, who is her immediate supervisor, to discuss the incident. So she met with all three of these people to talk about what happened. Shortly thereafter, State Attorney's Office administrators met with Ms. Bradley about the incident. However, this information was not disclosed to defense until after the defendant's first trial resulted in a mistrial. Additionally, there were conflicting Brady notices that were filed as to whether Detective Moretti admitted to making the statements to Deputy Gurrell. Remember, we went over those last week. There was three or four different stories from Bradley, and one from the three they just talked about here. Killeran, I believe, was the one who signed off on it. So on October 30th, a Brady notice was filed by Ms. Bradley, in which she disclosed that there was an internal affairs complaint lodged by Jamie Demons King with the Miramar Police Department in relation to the execution of the search warrant. The Brady notice makes no mention of Ms. Boutros' statement that Detective Moretti instructed Deputy Gurrell to say he was in the room when the search warrant was executed, even though he was not present, nor did it mention Ms. Boutros' complaint to Internal Affairs regarding the search warrant incident. So Boutros went all the way of making an Internal Affairs complaint against Moretti. Ms. King was not present in the room when Detective Moretti made the statement to Deputy Gurrell, so there was no possibility that it would have been included in her complaint. In September 2023, Ms. Boutros discovered that no Brady notice had been filed. So this was a couple months ago. Ms. Boutros discovered that no Brady notice had been filed, in this case disclosing what she overheard Detective Moretti tell Deputy Gurrell. She immediately brought this to the attention of State's Attorney's Office administrators in the meeting held on September 18th. Everyone involved agreed that a Brady notice had to be filed. This Brady notice had to have been filed a year ago, before the first trial, during the first trial, immediately after the first trial, anytime but a year late. This thing was filed 19 months after it happened. Everyone agreed that it had to be filed. Administrators then followed up with Ms. Bradley in at least 2 meetings. On September 20th, Mr. Killeran drafted a Brady notice, sent it to Mrs. Bradley to file. So a year later, they find out that this Bradley notice wasn't served. This notice like, oh, here, we have to tell you what happened with this Moretti thing. A year later, Boutros brings it up to the prosecutor, to the other her superiors in the chain of command, and says this wasn't filed. Her immediate supervisor writes the Brady notice, gives it to Bradley, and says, file this. Well, however, Bradley did not file that notice. She just didn't file it. 2 days later, Ms. Boutros was contacted by counsel for defendants. State Attorney's Office administrators authorized her to speak openly and honestly with counsel about the incident. And the first Brady notice concerning Detective Moretti's statement to Deputy Gurrell was filed the next day. So Bradley was told to file it. She didn't. Then the defense is like, hey, what the hell's going on here? And they filed a second one. On September 23rd, according to Assistant State Attorney Boutros, Detective Moretti executed a search warrant during an interview with Jamie King while no BSO deputy was present in the room. Shortly thereafter, BSO Deputy Gurrell entered the room and was told by Detective Moretti to say he was present when Detective Moretti executed the search warrant, seizing Ms. King's cellular phone. The undersigned Ms. Bradley spoke to Detective Moretti, who said that he asked Deputy Gurrell if he was present when the search warrant was executed, to which Deputy Gurrell responded, I can be if you needed me to be. This was signed by Ms. Bradley. So there we have Detective Moretti. This is Bradley again. Bradley said that Detective Moretti asked Gurrell, if you're present. Deputy Gurrell responded, I can be if you needed me to be. Then 3 days later, the state filed an amended Brady notice. This was from her boss, I believe. The state filed an amended Brady notice stating that the lead assistant state attorneys assigned to the case told administrators that she spoke with Detective Moretti regarding the statement to Deputy Gurrell. Detective Moretti explained that his statement to Deputy Gurrell was a joke. Subsequently, the lead ASA, Bradley, filed a Brady notice with the court on September 23rd, 2023, stating that Detective Moretti asked Deputy Gurrell if he was present when the search warrant was executed, to which Gurrell responded, I can be if you needed me to be. And they relayed to the state's attorney's administrator that the deputy was trying to be funny. The Brady notice was signed and filed by Assistant State Killeran. Okay, so there we go. The first one, Bradley says, I asked him this. He said that he asked him where he was. See, this is the thing. If he was in the room, why would he ask him if he was in the room? You'd think Moretti would know if Gurrell was in the room or not, wouldn't you? So why would he ask, where were you when I served this? But that's what he did. And the first statement, Bradley said, Moretti said he asked him where he was, and he said, I can be in the room if you needed me to be. 3 days later, Bradley's boss files an amendment and said, well, what Bradley left out was that he also said that Deputy Gurrell was trying to be funny. So it went from, this is what we said. You said I could, this is the very serious statement to, oh my God, that probably looks really bad. We better say that allegedly that it was just all a joke. Then 2 days later, the state files a second amended Brady notice stating that the undersigned, so we got Ms. Bradley filing one, an amendment saying it was just a joke, and now we got Bradley filing another amendment saying that the undersigned inaccurately relayed to state attorney's office administrators that Detective Moretti told her his statement was a joke. So he said this very serious thing. It was just a joke. Because Bradley told me it was a joke. Bradley has to file one saying, well, I didn't really mean to say that he said it was a joke because he didn't say it. This is a shit show right here. That is literally saying, he said, where were you? He told me, I asked him, and he said, I was in the room if you need me to be. 2 days later, 3 days later, boss says, oh, well, he also said, it's just a joke. And then a couple of days later, no, when I told my boss, he said this happened and it was a joke, I inaccurately reported that, which means she lied to her boss. At the October 6, 2023 hearing, contrary to what was contained in her September 28th Brady notice, so when she's on the stand, she testifies as a fourth story. Ms. Bradley testified that she never told State Attorney General Administrator that Detective Moretti told her his statement was a joke. So literally, she's calling her boss a liar. Oh my God, this is so fucked up. She makes the statement saying this is a serious thing. This is what he said. A few days later, boss says, she told me that Moretti also said it was a joke. Then she says, I misstated when I incorrectly told my boss that Moretti said it was a joke. And then she gets on the stand and said, I never said any of that. I never told my boss, even though he filed an affidavit saying I told him that. And then I filed an affidavit saying that I misspoke when I said that. I never said any of that. And the Detective Moretti told her that his statement to Deputy Gurrell was a joke. Rather, she told administrators that when Detective Moretti asked Deputy Gurrell if he was present, he responded, I can be if you needed me to be. And she told administrators that Deputy was the one trying to be funny. So she said, it wasn't Moretti that told me he was being funny. It was me seeing that he was the one trying to be funny. She testified that the administrators must have misinterpreted her statement. Her boss must have interpreted her statement to them, and the information contained in Mr. Killoran's Brady notice was not an accurate representation of what she told them. It's fucked up. Defendant argues that the court should order the disqualification of the entire state attorney's office. So this is based on all that bullshit. The defendant is arguing that the entire state attorney's office for the 17th Judicial Circuit should be disqualified because Ms. Boutros and Ms. Bradley will be called by the defense to testify at trial. More importantly, defendant alleges that the decision not to disclose the Brady material to the defense was made at the highest level by State Attorney Harold Pryor and the administrators of the state attorney's office in order to cover up Detective Moretti's alleged misconduct. Defendant also alleges that the administrators in the state attorney's office did not investigate Detective Moretti or pursue charges against him for allegedly inducing Deputy Gurrell to lie in order to cover up Detective Moretti's suspected misconduct. Defendant argues that consequently he will suffer from institutionalized prejudice should the state attorney's office continue to prosecute his case. Well, what's the standard? To disqualify, this is where we can start to get our answers. That's all. He's just laying out the bullshit that happened up to this point. This is the roadmap through the bullshit. To disqualify a state's attorney's office, a defendant must show a substantial misconduct or actual prejudice. Why did I just say that? Actual? Give it a whirl. The defendant must show a substantial misconduct or actual prejudice. Actual prejudice is something more than the mere appearance of impropriety. In order to prevail on a motion to disqualify all members of the state attorney's office from prosecuting a case, quote, the defendant must point to some prejudice to him which results from the office's participation in the prosecution. Although we have stated this one case, next case, although we have stated that the appearance of impropriety created by certain situations may demand disqualification, we have evaluated such situations on a case-by-case basis. So there's no blanket rule. Everything is case-by-case. You'll see me Gelfling. Disqualification by a prophylactic remedy. Condoms. Disqualification is a prophylactic remedy for likely future prejudice, not a punishment for past wrongdoing. So they're not going to punish them for this. It's something that needs to be done to prevent something from happening in the future. Defendant has failed to show, this is the judge you're talking, defendant has failed to show that he has a reasonable belief based on evidence presented to the court in the form of Ms. Boutros and Ms. Bradley's testimony at the October 6, 2023 hearing that Mr. Pryor, Ms. Falk, and or Mr. Killoran engaged in a cover-up of Detective Moretti's statement. They're not saying it didn't happen. They're saying there's no evidence that they actively engaged in a cover-up. They said there was insufficient evidence to prove that. To the contrary, or that they engaged in any other misconduct. To the contrary, Mr. Pryor and Mr. Falk held meetings with Ms. Boutros and Mr. Killoran shortly after the incident was brought to their attention in October 2022. Shortly after that meeting, they addressed the incident with the lead prosecutor, Ms. Bradley. It's understandable that the administrators would not have been directly involved in pleadings that Ms. Bradley, as the lead prosecutor and as a seasoned homicide prosecutor, should have filed in the case. So they're not watching over her to make sure she's doing her job. She's good at this. She's done it before. She has experience. They're trusting her to do her job. All of the evidence presented points to the conclusion that Ms. Bradley was solely responsible for the decision not to timely file Detective Moretti's statement to Deputy Gorell. So that's kind of the crux of it there, is that they're saying it's just she was solely responsible for not giving these Brady notices. There's no evidence, there's insufficient evidence to show that the three people above her actively engaged in some sort of cover-up. When it was brought to Mr. Pryor, Mr. Falkram, and Ms. Falk and Mr. Killoran's attention in September 2023 that Bradley had not disclosed the conversation between Detective Moretti and Deputy Gorell to the defense, the administrators again held meetings with Boutros and Bradley to address the situation. Bradley testified that she was told to file a Brady notice at that point, which she did. Additionally, Mr. Killoran filed a separate Brady notice disclosing presumably conversations State Attorney's Office administrators had with Ms. Bradley, in which he stated that Detective Moretti admitted to telling Deputy Gorell to say he was present when a search warrant was executed, but it was a joke. Mr. Pryor and Ms. Falk authorized Ms. Boutros to openly discuss the incident, including what occurred during their meetings with counsel for defendant. Furthermore, they authorized Ms. Boutros to attend her deposition and did not object to any questioning by the defense. They encouraged Ms. Boutros to be completely open and truthful. When the state moved to quash Ms. Boutros' subpoena for the October 6, 2023 hearing on the basis of improper service of the subpoena, they did not assert any other objections to the defense calling her as a witness. So the defense alleges that without any support in the evidence provided to the court or adduced at the hearings on the motion, that Ms. Bradley's failure to file the Brady notice disclosing Detective Moretti's statement to Deputy Gorell in a timely manner is indicative of a large-scale misconduct by the administrators in the state's attorney's office. They're saying, see, she didn't file this, so it's this here's just evidence there's large-scale misconduct running through the state's attorney's office. That's what the defense argued. A conflict or misconduct involving one prosecutor does not necessarily extend beyond that prosecutor. Okay. See United States v. Williams. Without any evidence of office-wide involvement, it was pure speculation to conclude that any conflict or misconduct pervaded the entire U.S. Attorney's Office in that case. Even if the state attorney himself was aware of the allegations of misconduct by the lead prosecutor, that alone does not automatically justify disqualifying the whole office. Rather, consistent with separation of powers concerns, the appropriate remedy in general is to disqualify the specific prosecutor, not the entire state's attorney's office. In the instant case, there is no clear violation of law or ethics by the administrators of the state's attorney's office, which would support an office-wide disqualification. In any event, a Brady violation alone is insufficient to require the disqualification of the entire state's attorney's office in the absence of actual prejudice to the defendant. In Huggins v. State, defendant failed to allege facts indicating a disqualification and would have prejudiced. We can skip through all that here. Pursuant to the 3 Brady notices filed in September 2023 and pursuant to Ms. Boutros' deposition, defendant now has access to material necessary to impeach Detective Moretti's testimony at trial. Disqualifying the state attorney's office would not provide any further remedy as to the Brady violation. The court need not disqualify the entire state attorney's office merely because defendant will be calling Ms. Boutros and Ms. Bradley to testify at trial to impeach Detective Moretti. There is no inherent prejudice in allowing an assistant state attorney who is not prosecuting the case to testify on behalf of the state. And the state attorney's office need not be disqualified unless specific prejudice can be demonstrated. Defendant has failed to demonstrate how he will be prejudiced by the state's attorney's office prosecuting the case, notwithstanding Boutros and Bradley testifying at trial. Particularly in light of the state's representation, they do not plan to attack the credibility of Ms. Boutros at trial. Alrighty, that is the end of the order. So essentially, what that boils down to is they didn't prove to the satisfaction of the court that there was an active cover-up effort or that there was some specific prejudice that he would suffer as a result of this. I think that's a right. I mean, that ruling makes sense to me. And Charles Perkins says, plus, why aren't they looking at the bigger picture? The only reason we know they did this is because Melly can afford a very competent defense team. It's also nothing to see here. Well, in this case, it was actually Boutros who realized that this thing had not been filed for more than a year, and she ratted out her own office to her supervisors. And looking at the big picture isn't what you in criminal cases like this, you look at the specifics. You can't go, well, this thing in this case or something that happened in another case also indicates there's a bigger picture to look at. You just have to look at the facts and the evidence presented in front of you. And this is kind of a problem with law that's really hard to explain to clients, and clients really don't like to hear it. And it's something that I have to say regularly to clients. When you file a lawsuit against something, when charges are brought against you, it's not who's right or wrong. The judge doesn't, when it comes down, the judge or the jury doesn't say you are right, he is wrong. That's not what the law does. It's not about who's right or wrong. If you're going to court to look for to be justified in doing something, or if you're going to court to make things right, there's a good chance you're going to be severely disappointed, because what the law does, what the important thing again is not right or wrong. It's what can you prove? What is the evidence? You may be 1,000% right. You can be 100% times 10 right. You are absolutely dead correct about what you're alleging happened. But if you can't prove it, if you don't have objective evidence to support that, it's not proven. And that sucks. That's a shitty thing about law. And that's the way it is. Again, it's not who's right or wrong, it's who can prove what to the satisfaction of the court or the jury. I hate to rip those rose-colored eyeglasses off of everybody, peel the band-aids off, but that's kind of that's the situation with the law. Yeah, that been there, done this. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's a thing. That's why, lawyers, I don't know if any other lawyer does. This one does. There's all these weird things where I'm sitting here, like on long weekends when I haven't opened my front door. I've been sitting around like binging on Netflix, or God forbid when I'm camping or something. And I think, what if I was accused of doing something? How could I prove? Because I didn't see anybody. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't buy anything. I didn't order anything. I just laid there like a lump on a log, smoking a cigar, drinking some whiskey, and reading a book. How could I prove that I didn't do this? How could what alibi do I have if someone came up right now to me and said, "We think you did this"? I'd be fucked, because I wasn't hanging around with people. I don't have any records. I'm just. So think about that sometimes. It's like weird alibi. It's a professional hazard. But see, that's the thing. That need the body cam. That's where people get hooked up. It's like, oh, you turned off your phone. That means you're trying to hide what you did. Oh, your phone is not moving. You must have done it. Oh, your phone is moving. You must have been running away from doing it. I think everyone should have a body cam. We're getting there. Everybody's got, you just look, everybody's like walking around taking videos of people doing dumb shit. But anyway, that's just kind of me bringing your little cheerful message for the day that the truth doesn't really matter. It's the evidence. That's why I always say when we do these trials, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the evidence shows. So that's why we've got to look at the evidence on a case-by-case basis and decide what happens. We are at the exact 2-hour mark, and I got nothing else to add here. We're good. We don't have any more. Don't have any more super chats to read. Don't have any more monthly things to read. The doggo is still sleeping on over there yonder, and we are wrapping up Wednesday. I can be your alibi if you need an alibi, Jeff. Yeah, that's. Did you learn nothing from today? Did you learn nothing? Ginger333, I was called stupid and an idiot and many other nasty names because I said Butt Rose couldn't be trusted. I would like an apology, please, Lamau. Yeah, well, work it out for yourself. Happy Thanksgiving, Bifrons. Member for 1 month. Thank you there, Bifrons. Thank you so much. And a happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Thanksgiving, again, there is no Thanksgiving. Well, there's a Korean Thanksgiving, but that was like last month. It's U.S. Thanksgiving time in Korea, but I got nothing to do. I'm probably going to go out have probably thinking of Indian. For some reason, I've been craving Indian food all day, so I might go to a good Indian restaurant or go to have a steak or something. I don't know. I'd order KFC. I don't know. Don't pressure me. All right, let's pull the ripcord here. And just say I was streaming Larax chat. So any special thanks to Daily Quick Buys for sending that link. We'll either look at that on Friday or Tuesday, one of those 2 days. The link to Monday's hearing, and we'll get through as much of it as we can. Folks, tomorrow join me and co-host Chandler Remington for our weekly O.J. Simpson chill stream, sort of MST3K style comments about the ancient old thing. We'll be doing that. Tomorrow will be the end of Andrea Mazzola, her testimony. Then next week, the week after next, we'll be starting the closing argument. And then when we're done with that, we'll just watch the verdict. And then we'll move on to a new trial. Friday, like I said, we might watch the Melly video. We might do a chill stream. We might do it in the morning. We might do it at night. We'll just see how it goes. A lot of it's going to depend on how I feel. Monday, Maritime Monday, part 2 of the wager story. If you missed part 1, go back and watch last Monday's Maritime Monday. Danny on Direct was my special in-house guest. Her and her husband are over here in Korea for a couple weeks, and we've been hanging out. She popped on over here on Monday. Her and her husband hung out, and we did a stream with Danny. Her husband sat over here in the corner and just bemusedly smiled at us during the thing. So go back and watch that because it's a wild, wild case. It's such a wild case. We need 2, possibly 3 episodes to get through murder, mutiny, cannibalism, and all kinds of fun stuff. And then Tuesday, we'll get back to Melly. That's it, everybody. Thanks. Let's see where we can send you all to on your YouTube journey for the day. Oh, let's see how did the the poll end up? What do you think about Boutros? 30. Wow, this is like straight across the board. This is literally 1/3 within a margin of error. Like and subscribe poll is Prosecutor Boutros telling the truth as she remembers it or lying? This is all within the margin of error. 39% truth, 29% lie, 32% don't know. That is a wash. That is a statistical 3-way tie. Interesting. We'll have to see how that turns out. Now, steak did not become an Indian food. I said Indian food or a steak. All right, let's see. Where can we send folks? I'm bringing this in. Up. Hang tight. Real quick here. We'll see if there's someone that can be easily forwarded to. There's the stream for today. Go to customization. Redirect. And yep, just as I thought. There ain't nothing going on nowheres. Oh wait, what? Oh, we have Nick Starov has the Young Thug trial. It's Young Thug week. So let's go see what Nick Starov's doing, shall we, folks? We'll call it a day there. We are locked and loaded and ready to switch on over to him. See you tomorrow for OJ. Again, please go back and watch that Danny on stream with me Monday. Not only was it hilarious with some hijinks, it was also very, very good to see Danny here, to hang out with Danny, have some drinks and cigars and stuff with her and her hubby. We're doing great. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for OJ. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody in the U.S. tomorrow, when it's Thanksgiving Day. Larax saying, enjoy that turkey.
How dare you?
Without me.